she's making us live. Oh, there we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Teacher Appreciation Wrap-Up Excitement event. So I am Miss Jennifer, and I am here with Miss Liz. Many of you may know me from our Facebooks, and I'm so excited to see you all again. So this week we have been celebrating all of our amazing teachers because it's Teacher Appreciation Week. And don't they do a great job for us? Yeah, they do, right? All right, so if you're in one of our LifeBridge Academies right now, I want you to turn to your teacher and say, thank you for all that you do. Good job, good job. And on behalf of LifeBridge Academy, the franchise company, I also want to say thank you to all of you out there. You truly are essential, and we couldn't do what we do without you each and every day. So, since you are all out of this world, we have this amazing event planned today with Miss Liz Duffy. So I am going to let Liz introduce herself, but one of the things I do want to say about her is she used to be a teacher at LifeBridge Academy. She used to work with me. She used to work with Miss Jennifer. It was so exciting. So, Liz, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to all of our amazing children and teachers. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Liz. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. So I am a mechanical engineer at NASA. We build the Mars rovers that you might have seen recently landed on Mars. So I am a mechanical engineer that helps build those rovers and send them to Mars.
That is super, super cool. And today is actually National Space Day.
That's right.
So yeah, so that's why this week, Liz, we've been celebrating all of our teachers because we do truly think that they are superstars. They are out of this world. They are absolutely amazing. So, and you were once there too, and it's so good to see you again. So
you too.
I'm going to ask a few questions that maybe you can share some answers with. First thing, really simple. What does NASA stand for?
NASA stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. It's a mouthful.
Wow, can you say that again?
National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
Wow.
And I work at a center that is called Jet Propulsion Labs. So they used to build all of the jets, the rockets for NASA. But now we do all sorts of stuff, including the Mars rover.
So what do you specifically do there? You said you're a mechanical engineer, so that is great. So, and that you really dealt with the Mars rover. What was your part in helping build it, launch it, see it on Mars?
So I was the lead engineer for what we call the hand of the rover. So the rover has a big, long arm, just like our arm. And at the end of it is a hand. And on that hand are science instruments and a big coring drill. And what we do is we take that hand and we put it on the Martian surface, and we can actually drill into rocks on Mars. And that's what's going to show us what Mars is made of and if there was ever life there, just like here on Earth.
Wow. So now is the rover coming back, or do the samples just fly back to Earth on their own?
Unfortunately, the rovers don't come back. We have to say bye to them when they leave Earth. But we are going to collect these samples of rocks, and this will be the first time that we're going to attempt to bring back those rocks. So there is a future mission that will go to Mars and collect those samples and send them back to Earth in orbit.
Wow. Now, will you have part in that too?
I hope so.
That's super cool. So is anybody, and I know some of my friends out there who are brown bears or green frogs or all of my friends, do astronauts go there with the rovers?
Not yet. So we haven't sent astronauts to Mars yet, but If we can successfully bring rocks back from Mars, I think that means we can probably successfully bring people back from Mars. So it's kind of the first step in furthering our exploration and seeing what we can do and pushing those boundaries, right? We've done it on the moon and we send astronauts to the space station. So the next step will be sending astronauts to Mars.
Wow, that's super exciting. Do you want to go into space? Do you like what you're doing, or do you actually, is this like the next step for you too? Like, do you want to go into space?
I would say I used to want to go to space. I used to want to go to Mars, and now I think I like it here on Earth.
Okay. Now, do you
Would I
have
take a ride to the space station? Yes.
Okay. Do you have any friends that you work with at NASA that have been in space, that have been to the space station? And what's the coolest thing that they tell you about it, if so?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to see and meet quite a few astronauts that came to speak at NASA JPL where I work. And it was just amazing. All of them, I would say, have such an awe-struck kind of thoughts about it. And they say just how humbling it is, and how important it is when they are in space looking back on Earth. It's interesting because a lot of the times we think NASA is always looking outward and looking at where we can go and do next. But many times when the astronauts and the humans go out into space, they look back at Earth and say, oh my gosh, what a beautiful planet, right? So we always kind of turn around, and almost all of them have said that.
Right. That's awesome. You don't think about that either. We are always looking out to space and looking for that next life form, right? But
right.
I can't even imagine being that far away, because that's such a distance. Amazing, amazing. So when they do go out in space, they have to wear these protective suits, right?
Yes.
What do those do? How do they help the astronaut, I guess, survive?
Sure.
Or why do we have to wear those suits anyway in the first place?
So we're really lucky on Earth. We have an atmosphere, we have oxygen in the air, and we've got all these things in nature that allow us to exist the way that we are. And we don't have to wear any sort of spacesuit or different air. Once you exit Earth's atmosphere, that stuff isn't there. So the air gets kind of sucked out. It's like a vacuum. And so we need our own supply of oxygen to breathe. And so a lot of the spacesuit is to seal you in protection and then also have the oxygen flowing through the spacesuit. It's also really cold or really hot in space. So because there's not a lot of atmosphere to block out the sun and all of the radiation, if you're in the shade on Mars, it's going to be really cold. And when you're in the sun, it gets way hot. So we need those to also regulate our temperatures.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't realize that Mars gets really hot too, but it's because the lack of the atmosphere. You always hear that Mercury and Venus are hot because they're much closer to the sun, but didn't even realize that it's the atmosphere that actually is protecting us with just the right temperatures. So Earth kind of is kind of perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. So did you always want to work with NASA? Did you always want to be a mechanical engineer for NASA? Like when did you first realize you wanted to do this? And was there like a triggering moment that said, that's it, I want to do that?
Yeah, I had no idea what a mechanical engineer was when I was younger, but I definitely knew about NASA and space, and I really wanted to be an astronaut. I don't know where this goal came about or what sparked my energy. It was a lot of from school and doing projects, I think, when I was very young and learning about the planets, and kind of that interest grew from there. And I just always loved the night sky. I mean, I would drag my parents out in the middle of the night to go look at shooting stars and go look at the moon with a little telescope. And I just loved it. And there was something, I always tell people this, there was just something about the way that I grew up, and my teachers especially that I had, that everyone always encouraged me. No teacher ever said, you're crazy, you can't be an astronaut. There's no way you'll ever get there. You're not going to ever work for NASA, They were all so encouraging, and I feel like I just kept going. Nobody told me no. And so I just kept going, and I eventually made it to where I wanted to be.
That's awesome. And I think that's really an important fact, especially for all our teachers out there. They are making such an impact every day. And whether they're taking care of infants or toddlers or preschool, pre-K, some of them are doing kindergarten and school-age children, the impact that they're having on the children in their care right now could, it just carries on and could really just keep going. And there'd be that ripple effect until they're a mechanical engineer at NASA creating a really cool arm on the rover.
It really does. I remember all of my teachers all the way from when I was young, and all of them being so encouraging. So it really makes a difference.
Right. Awesome. So if there is one of their, if there are children out there and they do have children in their classroom that are saying that they want to be an astronaut, or saying that they want to be a pilot, or saying that they want to go into outer space, what would you tell those teachers? Like, what would you say to them? How can they keep those children going? Like, what were some favorite things that you did when you were learning about space when you were little?
That's a great question. I just loved all of the science part of it, and all the stuff you could learn. So I loved constellations and being able to actually look at the sky and then find those constellations, and then watching whenever there was going to be meteor showers coming. Those are the memories, I think, when I was really young, that really kept my interest and enthusiasm, towards space going forward. And I got interested in so many other things. I was never just, space and one site on NASA, but it really just continued. And through school, you start to understand and look at, well, what can I do in my life that might help me get to being able to work in something in space? So as kids get older, it's great to just show them those opportunities, because there's not just one path to NASA. There's so many different people that work there. I'm an engineer, but I work with scientists and geologists and chemists and teachers and there's all these different avenues that you can really make it into the space field. So when you're young, I just would encourage their enthusiasm. One of the greatest things about working at NASA is everyone I work with there is like just as excited as I am, and just as excited as we were when we were young kids to be doing what we're doing. So keep that enthusiasm going.
That's great. Staying young at heart will just keep you excited about every little thing in life, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is the coolest part about your job?
Oh, the coolest part. Well, we're the only ones that do it. There's other companies that have rockets and are sending people to space, but NASA is just such the top of the top, the cream of the crop of what we do, and the only ones that really do it. And so it's really cool to be in that atmosphere where you don't really have a lot of other examples to look at. You have to use your own imagination and really think, these crazy ideas and thoughts to get something to work, to send something like a rover to Mars. So it's a very creative environment. It's never boring. And I just feel like it's fun. It's always fun. It's hard work. But the best thing about working there is it's just one of a kind.
That's great. So you mentioned constellations. Do you have a favorite?
Orion was always my favorite.
Okay, because of the belt or because of the bow and arrow?
And you could always see it. I still look up and find it every time I'm out.
That's great. What about, do you have a favorite planet?
Mars.
Mars.
Yes, I would say Mars is my favorite. I've been working on it for 10 years. Right. And it's never ending interesting. We're always finding out new and cool stuff about it. It's fascinating. And the thought of it one day in its past having looked like Earth and having running water and lakes, and it is just so amazing to think about.
Right. Do you think one day we could inhabit Earth? Do you think that it's possible? Maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not in the next lifetime, but do you think at some point in time it will be possible for humans to live on Mars?
I think that we would live there in a way just like the space station,
Okay.
where maybe we have astronauts who are there for long term doing experiments and finding out more about it. But I think we should stay on Earth. I'm a proponent of not taking over the planet
Hmm.
and not messing what it is now, but
Right.
but going there and staying there long term and learning about it, and that also teaches us about Earth. The things that we find out on Mars are very similar to processes that happen on Earth. So I do think we could eventually have a presence on Mars.
Right. That's a great answer. That's a great answer. So, any last words that you have for any of our amazing teachers out there or any of the children that might be watching either at Lightbridge Academy or at home?
Sure. Well, the teachers really, I kept in touch with so many of my teachers. They have really shaped who I am. I can't describe enough how and they had an impression on my life. And so I just encourage all of you. Every kid that comes through your classroom might be a little kid like me who might someday want to work for NASA. And if you just encourage them and don't say no, there really is no limit to what they can go and do. And I love speaking with younger kids and going in classrooms and talking with them because they are the future of NASA as well. So they are the ones that we're talking about maybe living on Mars and doing experiments on Mars. They're the ones that are going to do that. So I love seeing how interested they are. They always have wonderful, great questions. So I would say encourage them, always encourage them. And it really makes a difference. And for all the kids, there's so many different ways you can get into space. That's what I always like to tell people. You don't have to be a scientist just only. You don't have to be really good at math and that's it. There are so many different ways. Being a well-rounded and being interested in all these different things will always help and get you to where you want to be. So I always encourage kids to just be hungry and enthusiastic and go after and be involved in as many things as they want to do.
That's awesome. That is great advice for both our teachers and our children. Liz, thank you so much for being here with us
Absolutely.
today and answering these questions. I know the teachers out there and the children were all excited to have you join us. So
Great.
have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we can't wait to see all of the things that keep happening with NASA and the Mars rover and getting all those samples back and
Yeah.
seeing all the great things that we can learn.
Thank
So,
you so much. This was awesome. This was
right.
really great.
It was. So thank you, teachers out there, and for all my little friends who are joining us as well. We hope you enjoyed this conversation with Liz. We learned a lot of stuff. I know Miss Jennifer learned a lot of stuff. And I'm kind of really excited. I'm going to go look for Orion now because I too like to look at stars. So make sure this weekend, it's Mother's Day weekend. Maybe you can take your mom outside and you can look for stars, right? All right, so everyone out there, thank you for joining us. Teachers, you are amazing. As I said when we first opened up this interview, we couldn't do what we do without you. Parents rely on you, the children rely on you, everyone within our circle of care relies on you, one another. You're essential, you always will be, so please enjoy. We hope you enjoyed Teacher Appreciation Week and continue to know that we appreciate you each and every day, okay? Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.